All right, so today we're diving deep into the Amazon.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
It is, but we're not looking at the usual suspects like piranhas or pink dolphins.
Oh, what are we looking at then?
Something much bigger. Have you heard of the Pirarucu?
The Pirarucu. Rings a bell. Big fish, right?
That's the one. You're probably thinking, okay, a big fish, so what?
Well, yeah, kinda.
But there's so much more to this story.
I'm intrigued.
Lay it on me.
Well, for starters, this fish is huge.
Like up to 10 feet long?
10 feet? Seriously? That's like longer than my couch.
I know, right? And the weight, up to 440 pounds. I mean, can you imagine?
That's one big fish, no kidding. But size isn't everything, is it? What else makes this Pirarucu so special?
Well, it's got these incredible adaptations. Have you seen pictures of it?
I think so. Isn't it like covered in these crazy thick scales?
Yeah, they're like armor almost. Super tough. And that's how it survives in the Amazon.
Oh, right. Makes sense with all the piranhas and everything else trying to take a bite.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. It can breathe air.
Wait, what? A fish breathing air?
I know. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. It has this modified swim bladder that acts like a primitive lung. So it comes up for air every 10, 20 minutes.
Wow, so it's like it has a built-in snorkel.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that lets it live in water with less oxygen.
Huh. So it's kind of a trade-off. It can survive where other fish can't.
Right. But it also makes it really easy to catch.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. If it has to come up for air.
Fishermen can just wait for it, which leads to another issue.
Overfishing.
Exactly. But before we get into that, let's talk about its role in the Amazon. It's actually a top predator.
Oh, really? Like at the top of the food chain?
Yep. Eats other fish, crustaceans, even birds sometimes.
Wow, so it's a serious predator.
Yeah, and it plays a big part in keeping the ecosystem balanced.
How so?
Well, during the dry season when water levels drop.
Oh, right. Everything gets crowded together.
Yeah, and that's when the Pirarucu really helps to control populations. Prevents any one species from taking over.
It's like a keystone species. Its presence impacts the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. But there's another fascinating aspect to this fish. It's really important to the indigenous communities in the Amazon.
Oh, yeah, I was reading about that. They've been fishing it for a long time.
For generations, they have these traditional fishing methods that are super skillful, and the meat is like a staple food for them.
It's funny, I read that it tastes kind of like cod.
Really? Who would have thought a giant Amazonian fish would taste like cod?
Crazy, right? And they use pretty much every part of the fish. The skin for leather, the bones and tongue for medicine and crafts.
Yeah. It's incredible how resourceful they are, and it shows how important the Pirarucu is to their way of life.
It's like it's woven into their culture and their survival.
Exactly. It really highlights how humans and nature can coexist and benefit from each other.
Ideally, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But sadly, that brings us to some of the challenges facing the Pirarucu today.
Right, because despite being this big, strong predator, it's actually facing some serious threats.
And a lot of those threats come from us humans, unfortunately.
That's the sad truth. So we were talking about threats. Overfishing, I imagine, is like a major problem.
It's huge, yeah. The very things that make the Pirarucu so unique, its size, needing to come up for air.
Yeah, it's like almost ironic, isn't it? It evolved to survive in these tough conditions.
And it's those adaptations that make it so vulnerable to overfishing now.
It's kind of heartbreaking, really, but it's not just overfishing, is it?
No. Unfortunately, there are other factors too, like deforestation.
Right, because that destroys their habitat.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Less forest means less space for them to live and breed fewer resources.
Like a double whammy, then.
Yeah.
Overfishing taking them out of the water and deforestation shrinking their home.
And then you add climate change to the mix.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be impacting the Amazon, too.
Absolutely. Changes in rainfall, temperatures, everything gets disrupted.
It's a lot for any species to handle, let alone one that's already facing so much pressure.
It really is. But it's not all doom and gloom.
Oh, there's some good news.
Yeah, there are actually a lot of people working hard to protect the Pirarucu.
Okay, that's good to hear. What are they doing?
Well, there are regulations in place to manage fishing like size limits.
So they can only catch the bigger fish.
Right, so the younger ones have a chance to mature and reproduce.
Makes sense. Gives the population a chance to recover.
Exactly. And there are seasonal restrictions too.
Oh, so they can't fish during certain times of year.
Yeah, usually during breeding season to protect the next generation.
So it's like giving them space to grow and time to reproduce. What about protected areas?
Those are super important too. Places where fishing is banned or strictly controlled.
So like underwater safe zones for the Pirarucu.
Exactly. They act as sanctuaries where the fish can thrive without human interference.
That sounds promising. But enforcing those rules across the entire Amazon must be a challenge.
It is, which is why community-based management is so important.
Oh, so getting the local communities involved?
Exactly. They know the area, the fish, and the challenges better than anyone.
So they can help make sure the regulations are actually being followed?
And they're often the ones who benefit most from sustainable fishing practices.
So it's about finding a balance between protecting the fish and supporting the people who depend on them.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that conservation needs to work for everyone.
Makes sense. What about things like captive breeding programs?
Those are happening too. Raising Pirarucu in controlled environments.
To take the pressure off the wild populations.
Exactly. It's a way to ensure their survival, even if things continue to decline in the wild.
And I guess it also gives scientists a chance to study them more closely.
Yeah, to learn about their behavior, their breeding habits, all that stuff.
So it's like a safety net and a research opportunity all rolled into one.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it shows that people are willing to put in the effort to save this amazing species.
It's inspiring to see that kind of dedication. But it also makes you think, what about those of us who don't live near the Amazon? Can we do anything to help?
That's a great question. And the answer is yes, absolutely. Even if we're far away, our choices still have an impact.
It's kind of a crazy thought, right? Like, what I do here matters for this fish thousands of miles away.
It's true, though. The Amazon is like this giant breathing machine for the whole planet.
The lungs of the planet, right?
Yeah, they call it that for a reason. It absorbs so much carbon dioxide, produces so much oxygen.
And if it's not healthy, well, that impacts everyone, everywhere.
It's all connected. Deforestation, climate change, biodiversity loss, it all adds up.
Yeah, it's a big picture thing for sure. So what can we do about it? Those of us who aren't, scientists or living in the Amazon.
That's the key question, isn't it? And there are things we can all do. Supporting conservation organizations is a big one.
Even small donations help, right?
Absolutely. Every little bit counts. And being mindful of what we buy.
Like choosing sustainable products.
Exactly. Reducing our overall consumption, too. It all makes a difference.
So it's about making informed choices.
Yeah, think about where things come from, what impact they have, like are your purchases contributing to deforestation?
That's something I never really thought about before, but it makes sense.
And we can all spread the word, too, Talk to people about it, share information online.
Raising awareness is powerful. The more people who care, the better.
Definitely. It all builds momentum for change. And holding companies accountable for their practices.
Voting with our wallets right. Choosing companies that are doing things the right way.
It's all part of it. Individual action, collective action, policy changes.
It's a whole system. Well, this has been a real eye-opener for me. I had no idea. The Pirarucu was so fascinating.
They're amazing creatures, aren't they? A true symbol of the Amazon.
And their story is a reminder that everything is connected. What happens there matters to us all.
It's a call to action for all of us to think about our impact on the planet.
And to do what we can to protect these incredible ecosystems. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure, and thanks to everyone listening.
We hope you learned something new today, and that you'll keep exploring the wonders of the natural world. Until next time, keep diving deep.